And after this program, our Kabyanjali Global Poetry will be there. So please stay with us. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining. We would like to invite you all for our this webinar, next webinar, on behalf of Independent Research Ethics Society, AYUSH SAMRIDDHI, 1714th webinar. Thank you. Thank you for your mentorship, active participation, blessings, by which we have been able to conduct 840 webinars within 1 year. This last year, thank you. The speed, the cooperation, mentorship is salutable. Thank you. I would like to welcome Dr. Suparna Sanyal Mukherjee Madam and Dr. Sakat Vasu, both speakers. Both speakers are excellent and river of knowledge, ocean of knowledge, rather I can say. Thank you. Thank you very much. Sakat ji, Sudhakar ji, Sunita Pandey ji, Rahul Bansal ji, Jayant ji, Suparna ji, Nishant ji, जगदीश्वर सर और अग्निहोत्री सर. मनु बसवराज भी बार बार जुड़ रहे हैं लेकिन जुड़ नहीं पा रहे हैं. मैं उनकी भी वेलकम करता हूं. थैंक यू वेरी मच. टुडे we are going to discuss mosquito-borne diseases, risk and preventive strategy. Both the experts are really great for our platform. Next Kabyanjali also, they will guide us, they will recite the poems, because today is Global Poet Day, National Poet Day of any country. Thank you very much. I would like to request Professor V.K. Agnihotri sir for brief welcome address, and then this is also matter of Swasth Vritti, I hope. Respected Agnihotri sir.
Thank you, Professor Sharmaji. Rightly, you recognize that the mosquito has been recognized by the Sanskrit department, and and either Masak Saman, not exactly mosquito, Masak Saman Roop Kabdari. In that way, mosquito-borne diseases are, what should I say, as far as the Dr. Sagat Kumar Basu is concerned and our Madam Sanyal is concerned, they are not only the ocean of knowledge, but they are the pillars of our IRES. In that way, they are definitely pouring in the knowledge pertaining to the mosquito-borne diseases. Yesterday, we have simple malaria, chikungunya, and dengue. But today, we are going to have the next and another aspect of which has been created by the nuisance of mosquitoes. So it's very, very important that we should know beyond the malaria and dengue. And I welcome both the guest speakers of today, and our pleasure that our previous webinars guest speakers and the platform dignitaries are still with us, and it will be our pleasure just to justify and give valuable suggestions after the presentation of our guest speakers today's speech. So with these words, I again welcome all the guest speakers of the platform who are already with us. I would like to request and respectfully invite Dr. Sagat Kumar Basuji with his views over today's topic. And definitely we do hope that it will be a wonderful, informative for us all. Thank you. Namaskar. Dr. Sagat Kumar Basuji, स्वागत है आपका. Basuji sir. Yes, he is here.
Hello.
Namaskar.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Agnihotri ji. Thank you so much, Sharma ji. It has always been a pleasure to be a part of your platform. I was not here yesterday, so I just wanted to know that you covered on malaria and chikungunya tomorrow.
Malaria and chikungunya was covered with IOS expect.
Okay. Okay. I will talk a little bit something. I will give you a little general information, but I will also connect to this, the spread and rise of mosquitoes with respect to climate change. Something is very important, that why is this disease is spreading so fast and even in areas where they were not so prevalent previously. Nonetheless, important to say that today we are having a very much bad weather situation here, and I'm having a serious, interrupt disruptions here and there. So please bear with me if there are some internet disruptions. But nonetheless, I will start by saying that why are mosquitoes so important as a vector-borne disease barrier, both in case of community medicine, whether you are dealing from the perspective of AYUSH, whether you are aspecting from conventional medicine, that because it spreads a number of communicable diseases which are very deadly and has various serious health impact. And it is not just malaria, chikungunya, or dengue that we are very well known of. There are various other very serious diseases that are spread by mosquitoes in other countries too. These are Eastern and Western equine encephalitis. Then there is Japanese encephalitis. Then is Lacrace encephalitis. Then there is St. Louis encephalitis. There are so many different forms of encephalitis. And then there is another important disease of the West Nile virus, which is prevalent in North America. If we look into the geographical distribution of diseases spread by mosquitoes, there is a very strong geographical association, or a biogeographic or a community geographic association with diseases spread by mosquitoes. So, for example, if you look into malaria, you will find it in parts of sub-Saharan Africa. You will find it in South and Southeast Asia. If you are talking about, West Nile virus, you will find it across North America, predominantly Canada, United States, Mexico, and parts of Central America. If we are looking for various forms of encephalitis, it's also spread across in various different geographical regions. So there are European variants of encephalitis, there is Japanese forms of encephalitis, there is Filipino forms of encephalitis, there is encephalitis in India, there is encephalitis in South America. All these have a more or less similar kind of a life cycle, but there are also distinct differences in how the disease progresses in the human body, the level of infection, the level of the deadliness of the infectivity, and also how it impacts health for a long time. One of the biggest complaints that we usually get out from the mosquito-borne diseases is this, that not only it takes time for the individuals to recover, even after I'm talking about under conventional medication, which is allopathy. The one of the biggest claim associated, or the or complaint rather, I would say, with the patient is that it is associated with long-term weakness, that you remain weak for a quite significant amount of time. It seems that it drains out your energy, and it takes a long time and a long strong will, medication, repeated blood tests, check and stuff, and then you get into your shape better on. And there are incidences for some individuals, there are incidences of repeated occurrence of the disease. So you have recovered from malaria, you got all the medication, you got all the blood tests and stuff, you did several sequential blood tests for some time, but again after 6 months, when the season returns, then you are found to be found again, you are infected with malaria. So there is a recurrence of these disease pattern in some individuals, and it could be due to weak immune systems or immune suppressed diseases that these individuals may have. We are learning about these diseases every now and then, and the geographical area of the diseases are spreading. Now, one of the biggest challenges for the mosquitoes is, they are so widespread. And as the warmer temperature of the earth is increasing, or we are going through these climate change regimes, we are facing the temperature problems of global warming and related challenges. One of the significant impact that we are seeing around the world is the number of mosquitoes are increasing. That there is a global thrush in the mosquito population, whether it is in Singapore, whether it is in Brunei, whether it's in Indonesia, or India, or South America, or Africa, sub-Saharan Africa. They are always prevalent in moist tropical environment. So these diseases are mostly prevalent in our thoughts used to be that these are mostly tropical diseases, subtropical diseases. Maybe sometimes you see it in temperate countries and stuff. But with the spread of new kinds of various strains of virus that are spread through mosquito bites and stuff and getting into the blood and causing infection, we are finding it that they can operate even under low temperatures. I have been in Canada and I have seen mosquitoes that could stretch and live even reaching across October, where other insects become slow and sluggish and they are not visible in the environment. Their numbers definitely reduce, but there are presence of mosquitoes which are pretty big in size, and their sting, the bite and the pain is quite incessant, like much stronger bite than the bite that we express or that we experience in Indian tropical countries, that we see in temperate countries. And the spread of West Nile virus. What is the West Nile virus? It does slowly, like while malaria includes into our liver and the blood circulatory systems and stuff, this West Nile virus and others are brain injury. They bring infections to the brain and stuff. So they're quite deadly. Although there hasn't been as many deaths in case of West Nile virus as it is in case of malaria, but you'll also understand that the West Nile virus and stuff are found in countries which are economically more progressed. Their medical and health systems are much better. The preventive care and measure systems is much better. So they have been able to control. So there is a written declaration by the governments here in USA, North America, like USA, Canada, Mexico, etc., that if you are traveling in a village area or a city parks or anywhere in the rural area or forested areas, if you see 4 or 5 crows that are dead and they are lying down in close proximity to one another, be very careful and immediately report to the forest department for collecting, so that they can collect with the experts, collect the birds, send them to the virus center to detect and scan them for West Nile virus. Even they say that even if you see a bunch of migratory birds dead and you see like 1 or 2 birds dead here and there is no big deal. But if you see a flock of birds, like they always say, if you see more than 5 birds that are dead substantially lying close to each other, immediately report the forest department, because they want to go take the birds and screening them for virus infections and stuff. And many times, in many instances, the government will issue a warning that crows have been detected with West Nile. So there is West Nile virus prevalent in this environment. Be very careful. That's also a very dangerous disease because it impacts the brain. So like this, in all the geographical regions, we are finding that the number of mosquitoes are spreading and they're crossing their geographical boundaries. So like countries in Africa that were prevalent or known for malaria-prone infection, even now drier countries adjacent to those countries are also reporting malarial infection. Now, why is this happening? Now, one of the important part of vector-borne diseases is that they are very strongly correlated with climate change. This is one very interesting phenomenon that is coming up and has been a part of modern community medicine, as well as part of medical geography or medical biology and medical life sciences or biogeochemicals or biogeomolecular sciences, in the sense that we are in finding that as the temperature of the earth is increasing, the summertime range is increasing. And as the summertime range is increasing, so is increasing the life cycle period of mosquitoes. Which was able to live for 2 months, 1 month, 3 months, the species are now extending to 4 months, 3.5 months, or their breeding cycles are increasing. There is opportunity because the summer temperature is increasing, they have more periodic time to breed. And again, as because of climate change, you will have drought in one country, extensive flooding in country, and wherever there is accumulation of water that is happening as a part of this, there is this frequent mosquito breeding. And because the rainfall and this drought pattern is becoming very, very irregular, and it is very difficult to follow the regime from one country to another. So even in those countries that were drier in nature are becoming moist. Countries which have had more precipitation in the past are becoming drier. As a result of these, of the impacts of the climate change and global warming, these are all impacting together and playing in the average annual increasing of temperature and also the increasing of the summer season. With the increase of this unprecedented summer season, the mosquitoes are getting enough abundant time to increase their breeding cycle. Now, this is not only affecting humans. There are very important instances of, these mosquitoes are also impacting wildlife. How? we think that mosquitoes only bite humans. This is not actually true. Mosquitoes are capable of biting horses, swines, every other, even insects. They bite female mosquitoes looking for blood. They also suck juice from other insects too. So, because of these particular challenge that they have, or this particular ability or capability that they have, it has been a continuous challenge that they are finding newer and newer hosts. More new animals are being listed as a part of the disease cycle as it was not previously known. So, for example, previously we know that for these kind of horse-based encephalitis, only the horse host was used. Now they are finding that they are also using related hosts, right? So the disease are also spreading through donkeys or wild asses or other related members of the equine family that can transmit the disease. Disease that was only prevalent in the swine groups or the pig groups, they're also finding that these diseases are also spreading through the wild relatives of the pigs that are available in the various forest in tropical and subtropical ecosystems. So these new ability of expanding life cycle, this new ability of multiplying or their breeding cycles repeated time and finding new hosts is giving them the opportunity to infiltrate into the final secondary host human at a significant higher rate, and it's a very, very alarming news. Although there are screenings done in various pharmaceutical industries, or pharmacological studies are being conducted to find newer and newer drugs, no vaccines are being tried to be operating. They're trying to make cheaper vaccines and stuff, but at the same time the mosquitoes are also evolving very, very fast under these climate change regimes, and they're spreading out into countries or regions where they were not previously exposed. I will conclude my presentation by talking about like the wildlife impact also, in the sense that in the Arctic regions, particularly say in Arctic Canada and other areas, the summer is very short. But even within the summer, there is tremendous birth of mosquitoes, or there is tremendous breeding of mosquitoes. If you go to Arctic Canada or subarctic Canada during summer, you have to put on protective clothing. Otherwise, you cannot work or do research down there because of the preponderance of mosquitoes. But this has been historical. If you go into any summer Arctic areas along the Arctic Circle and the subarctic regions, there is this huge abundance of insects, particularly mosquitoes during there, but they were not life threatening. Now, what is happening now? That because the summer is also increasing in the Arctic, the mosquitoes are getting enough water to breed, because the water is not freezing into ice, the water is remaining liquid there for a longer time. They are having repeated more cycles of breeding, and their population is increasing at an accelerated rate. Now, various animals like reindeers, particularly living in the circumpolar countries of Scandinavia, Siberia, Canada, Alaska of United States, all these regions, the reindeers are migratory species of deer. They are called caribou in Canada. There are 5 or 6 species, and most of the species in Siberia and Scandinavia are domesticated, but those in United States, like which means Alaska and the Canadian part, are wild. So 5 or 6 or 7 species of these rare mammals, which used to be flocking in millions, and they used to migrate from one region to other. And this was a spectacular migration. The aboriginal tribes or the natives used to hunt them. All other wild animals, particularly wolves, bears, they would hunt them, and they would used to sustain from them during winter because they are moving from one another, and their breeding cycle was very high. Although the females do not produce more than one calf, but still their numbers were so staggering high that the migration included millions of animals moving from one part to another. Now, recent researches indicate that their population is showing a crash, which is also due to various other human-related factors, climate change, etc., but it is also due to vector-borne diseases. During the summertime, these animals feed as much as possible so that they can build up a lot strong storage of fat so that they can use it during the hard winter months of these Arctic regions, so that they can survive the Arctic regions by having those reserve fat. They will still eat lichens and other green vegetation that are available under the snow, but they still needs to fatten up, and also the females need this extra energy, this extra source of food for them to give birth to the babies during the fall. But they are finding that with this increasing number of mosquitoes, these mosquitoes are attacking these reindeers, and such an unprecedented number, it is bothering them, it is disturbing them, it is harassing them, and it is taking out a huge blood load out of the females, that they have stopped breeding. they are not producing enough babies, in the sense that they are not being able to fatten up as they used to fatten up during the summer in earlier times. They are not producing so much fat. They are not being utilized the food and nutrition properly because of this continuous blood sucking by these mosquitoes throughout the summer. Although these are fairy animals, but they are extensively and heavily attacked by mosquitoes. With this unprecedented range of population, it is impacting the caribou number. And as it is impacting the caribou number, it is impacting the reindeer migration from one region to another. And as it is impacting the migration, their numbers are getting lesser and lesser. So Aboriginal people who are dependent on their meat for their survival in the remote rural areas of Arctic, subarctic regions of Canada, US, as also people, as also animals like wolves, wolverines, various cats like the lynx, bears, all dependent on this animal as a source of food, are also dwindling in population because their staple source of food is being challenged. So mosquitoes are not only impacting the life under the climate change regime of the humans, but it's also a classical example. The studies are coming up that they're impacting the life of various Arctic mammals, and as a consequences, their breeding cycle is being disturbed, or they are not being able to put enough fat within their body. So many of them are dying even under the chilling winter condition because they have not been able to feed as much or store as much tissue in their body or fat by fattening up due to these mosquito attacks during the summer. So this is also putting them under endangered status, and many of them are critically endangered. So as a part of the vector-borne disease, mosquitoes are becoming an extremely nuisance part in spreading, finding new hosts, adding to multiple geographical areas, and increasing impacts in not only in the case of biodiversity as well as humans. And the other big challenges that people are coming up with is the new strains, whether it's a virus infected or a parasite infection, new strains of these parasites, new biovariants are coming up as scientists are doing and screening in various biogeographical regions, seeing that they are having an unprecedented, very fast rate of their pathogen characters being changed over the time. So this is alarming. Research still needs to be done in an extensive form to understand their distribution pattern and how they are impacting, and then to find the proper strategies of how to mitigate them or how to control their population. Nonetheless, the huge level of pollution that is impacting our Earth with respect to climate change is also a very, very important factor that is impacting mosquito population throughout the world and adding to the diseases and their loads. Thank you very much once again for the opportunity provided. And I look forward if you have any questions. And if not, thank you for inviting me to the platform.
Excellent, Dr. Sakat. Excellent.
Thank you, sir.
अग्निहोत्री सर।
थैंक यू डॉक्टर साहब जी, बहुत बहुत गहराई से आपने बताई, और स्पेशली अपार्ट फ्रॉम इंडिया सबसे इंटरेस्टिंग ये लगा कि विश्व में और जगह भी हैं जहाँ पर मॉस्किटो अपना है, लेकिन इतना फेटल आउटपुट नहीं देते हैं. Thank you so much, and you are also underlined the possibility of the eastern and western sides as far as the encephalitis is concerned. Thank you so much. Now I would like to invite, with respect, Dr. Suparna Tanal Mukherjee for her presentation regarding on today's topic, the mosquito-borne diseases. Madam, namaskar.
Namaskar. Very good evening to the all dignitaries over here who are present here. So it's a very interesting topic for me. Basically, the vector-borne diseases are very important, and it's needed the exploration at the same time. It's emphasizing on this the areas where it has not yet been discovered and covered by this modern amenities and facilities. Basically, it has been observed that the vector-borne diseases account for more than 17% of the infectious diseases, causing more than 7 lakh deaths annually every year all over the world. They can be caused by either parasites or bacteria or viruses. Malaria is a parasitic infection and transmitted by the Anopheles mosquito. It causes an estimated 219 million cases globally, and results, particularly it results on this the aspects of the children, like they has been affected by the age of 5 years of old. And dengue is the most prevalent viral diseases and viral infection transmitted by Aedes mosquitoes. More than 3.9 billions of people are suffering, and 129 countries are persons are facing the risk factors by the dengue. With an estimated 96 million symptomatic cases and an estimated 40,000 deaths since every month has been observed in all over the world, which is very dangerous for this particular situation. Other viral diseases transmitted by vector includes, which is the yellow fever, the West Nile fever, then the Zika fever, and this the chikungunya fever. These all are the persons are suffering every year in every parts of the countries, and we are suffering also in these kinds of people. Many of vector-borne diseases are preventable, and through the preventive measure and the community mobilization and the community sensation, how we can develop it, because who are the vectors? Vectors are the living organism that can transmit it from animal to human and or human to human. So they need a host. This host are the living organism. It has to be a living organism. Many of these vectors are the blood-sucking insects. These blood-sucking insects are, you don't understand how the disease has been transmitted from one person to another person or one animal to the human being. Because these vectors are sucking your blood. When they suck the blood, you would not have any sensation. And which mosquito is bite? When you are feeling the mosquito biting, that means there is no risk factors are depending upon. But when you can feel that the mosquito is biting, but you have no sensation, that means that they are sucking blood, and the disease, the vectors and virus has been transmitted from their, from the mosquito to human being. So host to the human. So basically, it has been observed that the new host after the pathogen has replicated, and when they have been replicated, the replication is very fast. And often, once a vector becomes infectious, they are capable of transmitting the pathogen for the rest of their life during the subsequent life and the life cycle pattern. So vector-borne diseases are very, very dangerous for this present juncture, and these diseases are human illnesses caused by the parasites, viruses, and bacteria that are transmitted. And every year there are the several deaths are occurring all over the world because especially we have feel this the dengue fever which is occurring in the India, this yellow fever, then chikungunya, then encephalitis, Japanese encephalitis, which are happening every year and all over the world, because this burden of this diseases is highest in this tropical and subtropical areas, and they disproportionate, and their affection, and they affect the poorest population. So one more point is very important here, that since 2014, the major outbreaks of the dengue, malaria, chikungunya, yellow fever, and Zika have been affected the population all over the world, claim lives and overwhelmed health system in many countries. Other diseases such as the chikungunya and lymphatic filariasis, and this cause of chronic suffering, which also happen. Then the filaria is also happening through this mosquito binding, and the disability and occasional stigmatism is also happening for this malaria and these mosquitoes. It has been observed that the rural and urban areas, the rural people may not be suffering from this mosquito biting, and they are less suffering from this dengue, then yellow fever, Zika fever. So many fevers, they are not so fast suffering as like the urban people. Why it is happening? Just because of the pollution and the climate change, and there is no scope for this. The wastewater, the waste management is very poor. That's why the mosquitoes is forming, and the stagnant water is there. This stagnant water, the mosquito larva is forming, and their life cycle started. But in case of the rural area, we have seen that there is a plenty of plants kingdom and this animal kingdom. So though there it's happening, but there is no stagnant water. It has not yet been followed, and because of this, the plantation. So this plantation is also protecting the human being and the animal kingdom, by which the mosquito may not be generated, because there is no scope for this larva will be generated, and they can develop their life cycle is very fast. It has been observed that the vector like the mosquito Aedes mosquito, which is those diseases are caused by this Aedes mosquito, that is the chikungunya, dengue, then the lymphatic filariasis, and then the Rift Valley fever, yellow fever, Zika fever, and these are the all the pathogens are virus, and one pathogen is parasite. And in case of the Culex mosquito is causes for this the Japanese encephalitis, lymphatic filariasis, and white nile fever. And this virus, parasite, and virus is also important for this particular. And Anopheles is the malaria. Malaria is a parasitic. The type of pathogen is parasite, and this is caused by this for this lymphatic filariasis and this malaria. Then aquatic, these are also the parasite which is caused for this the annual death, the mosquito biting disease. Then the black phyllis, it is also the parasite that lies. There is so many types of mosquitoes they are developing, but only three mosquitoes are very important over here. That is Anopheles, Aedes, mosquitoes. These are very important for this various types of diseases, and especially the global vector control response, like GVCR 2017 to 2030. They are taking decision. They are taking the which has been approved by the World Health Organization in 2017. It provides strategic guidance to countries and development partners for urgent strengthening of vector control as a fundamental approach to preventing the disease and respond to these outbreaks. These are the very important, and they are taking right way to control this type of the vector-borne diseases. And to achieve this alignment and the realignment of the vector control programs is required, supported by the increased technical capacity, improved infrastructure development, strengthened monitoring and surveillance system, and the greater community mobilization. Ultimately, this will support implementation of a comprehensive approach to vector control that will enable the achievement of disease-specific national and global goals. To achieve such goals, it is very important for which WHO has taken part, and WHO is taking system orientation by which we can develop, and developing countries are also getting the more efficient and more effective they can develop their, in these cases, populations, all the country populations, they are suffering, who are suffering from this the mosquito bite diseases, especially the dengue fever and this the chikungunya, then Japanese encephalitis, all have some needed. And it is needed the technical support of the countries, especially the Indian subcontinent and the Asian subcontinent, the Asian countries who are suffering, who the people are suffering in this particular areas, they should be taking care of it. And the regular checkup, regular counseling, especially in the rainy season, where the awareness generating program, then the supply of this medicine, and the taking care of the people at large, it is needed for the developmental developing country, developed country, and the country, those who are living in the below poverty line, like the African countries. There are so many countries where it has been spread over there. Though the sunlight and the African countries, there is a more power of sunlight. Wherever is the sunlight is present, the mosquito larva cannot be survived in this sun areas. But it is also at the same time, we have to look after. There is not only the presence of the water and vector-borne diseases, but mosquito can be transmitted. Their the parasites and viruses can be the transmitted from the animals to the human being. So we have to taking care of the animal too. Those who are giving that they have the pets, they should taking care of it, and of which we can develop our concession and our awareness generation program and our awareness situation. And we should be more cautious, because the persons those are living in the rural area, they are more cautious for their this mosquito biting. So it is very less for this rural sectors. The people are not suffering from this vector-borne diseases, but the urban situation, they are also more suffering from than the rural. So that's why we should be more aware. We should take the health care. There should not be any health hazard. So before the system, before the any drastic situation may happen, before that we have to take care of ourselves. And the Ayush have the more important point, because Ayush have the key factor. Ayush has the key for this protecting the vector-borne diseases, and Ayush has the more potentiality to protect such kind of diseases in the human being, at the same time the animal kingdom. So it is a very good opportunity for me to say something on this. Thank you very much. So I also worked in this vector-borne diseases. There are so many continuous diseases I also worked. So it is my privilege, and it is my very nice opportunity to say something on this international platform. The AYUSH Samriddhi is also giving us the